Hello.
Hello.
Hello,
Hey,
James.
how's it going?
Good. We were just showing what amateurs we are at Instagram Live.
Same here. If I'm being honest, my wife is the expert. I was telling everyone who was here, who joined earlier, that out of all nights, Theo decided to go against his sleep schedule and is so she'll probably end up joining later. So
No problem. We've got 4 kids from 4 to 10 roaming around here, so we'll be joined by at least one of them at some point during this.
okay.
Absolutely understand.
Yeah, we just come back from the West Coast from visiting family in Arizona, so his sleep schedule's all out of whack right now.
Oh, yeah, I bet. Yeah. Yeah, Paul's from Denver, and we're on the East Coast now, so you're a couple hours behind your
Yeah.
normal schedules.
We're going to see if our kids will actually go to bed tonight.
Yeah. Oh gosh. So are you guys in Colorado right now?
No, we're actually in South Carolina on a family vacation.
Oh,
So
that's
Paul's family, my family, Paul's brother and his wife and their dad are all here and sharing a house in South Carolina. So
got it. Okay.
full house.
I'll jump in and just get us started here. So I'll start with introductions first. Hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining this evening. I'm excited to partner with Paul, John, and my wife when she joins Jen. I am part of the Nanit family. I'm part of the HR team here, part of the recruiting team, actually the only recruiter here for recruiting positions here in the US. Coincidentally, we also have a Nanit camera. And further into, we'll dive deep into why we chose the Nanit camera, but that's a little bit about me. I'll intro my wife since she's not here. She's actually an influencer, lifestyle, fashion. She's been doing it since I believe 2011. Yeah, it's been a while, yeah. But she's built this like organic following just through the content that she's developed throughout the years, and I'm just so happy to see where she's been and where she's come right now at present, especially now that we've had a new addition to our family and so her content has been changing. So that's a little bit about us. We live here in New York. We've been here since 2012. It's been 10 years. I was only going to give it a year, and fast forward, I've been here for about 10 years. So
That's how most people are with New York. They go for a year.
Yeah. I'm from this small town border town in Arizona. Went to school at a large public university and decided to give it a try, and I don't regret my decision at all. So
Excellent.
yeah. And now I guess it's a good time to turn it over to you all. So I think just for me, myself, as a first-time father, I wish I had stumbled across you guys when we were preparing for our little one, Theo, when he was born last year. As much as everyone is prepared, not everyone is prepared to be a parent. So I think just understanding the resource that you put out, and especially the reviews of tech, I think it's just a fantastic resource for not only just first-time fathers. I also saw scrolling through some of the videos that you guys had published on YouTube. We have a lot of non-dads that are also responding to comments too. I think it's just a great resource, not just for dads, but for everyone, and you put a modern twist on it. So that's what I love.
Yeah, James, you did a great job introducing us. Hi, everybody. I'm Paul. This is John, and we are the co-founders of Fathercraft. And as James alluded to, we are a company that creates content and resources for dads and expecting parents and new parents to help them enter this whole brand new universe that is parenting. And the genesis story of Fathercraft is that John and I became dads around the same time. And as you might have gathered by the fact that we're on a family vacation together, we are also brother-in-laws. So John is married to my sister. And so we hang out a lot. We had all of these dinner table conversations around parenting since we were both becoming dads at the same time. And we both wanted to be involved, but neither of us really had any clue as to how to be a dad. I'd literally never held a baby. I think I held Oliver, your first son, 30 seconds.
It was very awkward.
It was super awkward, but I had no idea what I was doing. I wanted to be an involved parent, and we both went searching for resources on how to be a dad. And what we found on the internet was that there are tons and tons of mommy blogs, and a lot of them are really good, but none of them spoke to us as dads. And so with Fathercraft, the idea was, let's try to build the company, build the resource that we wish we had found when we were becoming parents. I think that's a growing trend. Dads these days are a heck of a lot more involved now than they were when we were growing up, and we see that as a really good thing. So that's me. I have 2 kids, 2 daughters, a 8-year-old Kenzie and a 5-year-old Ruby. And this is John and one of his children.
This is Oliver, who's 10. Oliver, hello.
Hello.
Thank you. You may go now. So I won't spend too much longer on the little story there, but just to piggyback a little bit off what Paul said. Paul is like the researcher of this group and the bookworm, and I'm more just just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And I relied heavily on my wife to just tell me what to do so I could do it, and that was a lot of extra burden on her already on all the other things you do as a mom. Yeah, like Paul said, if this were around when I first became a dad, I would have just ate it up, because it's right up consuming videos instead of trying to read a book at 3 a.m. and say, hey, you're supposed to be doing this when your baby's crying at 3 a.m. Just not something I ever would be able to do. So just, yeah, this is something that we built thinking if this were around when we first started, we would have benefited heavily from it. So.
And we know Jen's an influencer, so does that make you a dadfluencer?
Oh gosh, I really
Started ready?
like the man. So I'm taking all the photos behind the scenes. So I'm definitely, I can't call myself a dad influencer. But to that point, like with the technology that we have, especially around anything that we use for Theo, of course, like I have a lot of things that I grew up with. Like they're in our wedding, and they're starting, some of them, like 2 of them literally are starting to be first times dad. Anything that I can impart on them, whether that's firsthand knowledge or just like resources themselves, is definitely good information to.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I guess in a sense, I am a dad influencer. Yeah, hashtag starting already, dads.
I love it.
But yeah, I'll jump right into why we chose Nanit, and I'm trying to take off my HR hat here, because I always explain this story and telling my story and why I joined Nanit. So it's at this point where we were already pregnant. I was looking for something a little bit more impactful. And it just so happened that when we were researching or building out our registry, we're evaluating the Nanit, and then another big one. I don't know if I should name them on this slide, give them the advertising, but I think a few things that interested us, and especially me. I know probably Jen has a different story, but I think so. I'm like that data guy, so the sleep insights was important to us. I think the portability of the camera. We had Theo next to us in our apartment here in New York in the bassinet for the first 5 months. And so having the floor stand was great to move to different rooms when he was ready to be kicked out of our room into his crib. And we travel a lot. Having the travel stand was important to us when we travel. But I know Jen I don't know if she's still tending to Theo, but if I could answer for her, I think because she's an influencer, she's already thinking about how the nursery is going to look. So I think it fit with the design of our nursery. And then the look of the camera, the design, it looks awesome for our nursery. So there's a few things that were on top of the list.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree on the data part. I was a huge fan of that. The coaching tips that come along with what Nanit is analyzing night to night is super cool. And when we first reviewed it, it was, 4 years ago at this point when the original came out. So they're still tooling around with that part of it. But just as the years started coming along, and the data that they're tracking and just what Nanit can do with the data is just amazing. And to have them be able to say, your child has been waking up at this time every night, maybe try doing this, or there's a temperature fluctuation at 2 a.m. every night, maybe doing something to get the temperature in the house. It's just super cool. And it takes a lot of the guesswork out of what's going on and why potentially your baby isn't sleeping through the night or napping well or whatever the case may be. So I was a huge fan of that piece of what Nanit offered. or offers.
The other thing that I'll add is that John and I are old enough, and our kids are old enough, that we experienced baby monitors before Nanit was a thing. And so I'll never forget, like, our first crappy baby monitor that my wife and I had, and it was this video baby monitor, but it didn't have this thing called bird's eye view that's so freaking amazing about Nanit. And so you like sit it on a nightstand and you try to point it into the crib, but then you're looking through the crib bars, right, trying to see your baby in black and white. And my wife always described it as the exorcist view, because your baby looks super creepy and right, grainy black and white, and you're trying to figure out, is she sleeping? Is she awake?
Especially when they pop up all of a sudden and they stare at you with those eyes,
Yeah, and so when Nanit came along, and I should mention that Fathercraft originally started, we did a ton of product reviews. I guess the very first thing we set out to do was make a diaper bag 5 years ago. And we quickly realized that that was a lot harder to do than we thought it was going to be. So we're like, oh, we need to build some revenue. We need to build a community here. And so we thought, oh, what do parents need? They need reviews of products. And so we started reviewing all of these baby monitors. And John stumbled across Nanit. I think he saw it on some tech blog somewhere.
It was on like a new tech for parents or something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it looked really interesting. And Paul said, you know, from what we were using to then seeing something like Nanit, I was like, whoa, that's, how does this work? And so we were really intrigued by it from the get-go, and it hasn't disappointed really since we've used it.
Yeah. And I'll say that diaper bag I mentioned is sitting.
Oh yeah. Here, let me show it off real quick.
Yeah, we're super excited. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. Our Kickstarter is currently live for the diaper bag, but
just post it up right here for everybody.
But you mentioned the shopping for gear for parents being really important, and like technical gear that actually fits in the modern parent's life. And so when we found Nanit, we were like, holy cow, this is something that like Apple might have made, or it actually feels like it belongs in the modern connected world, as opposed to the giant handheld black and white monitor.
This 4-pound brick that you have to carry on in your back pocket all day long just to see what's going on, and that will break the second you drop it. It was quite the revolution in monitoring. It sounds cheesy, but really was. Like, it's the first step into becoming more of the modern parent and what they're into and the world that they're used to pre-parents, with everything being digital and app-based. And this was perfect. It fit a niche perfectly, and it's done a really good job of providing the things that you need in a monitor and doing it really well.
Yeah. Right. No, you mentioned that your diaper bag there, it's, I think, just from initially where you guys wanted to or aspired to set out to develop this diaper bag. I wanted to mention to our viewers that there's going to be a surprise giveaway to one lucky winner that we will announce at the end of this. Or not the diaper bag itself, sorry. Let me correct myself. So there's going to be a One Nanit Pro that we're giving away. And we're also gonna give away one free preparing for parenting course from Fathercraft. So stay tuned. We will announce a winner at the end, and we will have the winner DM us to claim their prize. And I think it's a good opportunity to talk about why Nanit is top to parents in terms of their pick. I know one of the features is around 30 in that respect. For us, I think we're the type of parents that we're like laissez-faire when it comes to like security, because we think our data is out there. But there are some parents who are really concerned about the safety and security, especially with everything. And we've heard a lot of events over the news about hackers hacking into cameras and what have they. But I think for us specifically, and just being on the inside, there haven't been any events, knock on wood, of being any hacks in our cameras. Yeah. In your respect, and I'm not like a big tech person. I really like modern technology, just not like the specifics of what goes into the technology. But from your guys' reviews and we've heard from others, what is your insight on the security of our
we get that question a lot with reviews, especially around the apologies for the cicadas going crazy right now, but that is a big question we get a lot. And honestly, the thing you have to look out for are monitors that don't market their security. It's just a thing that's in the background that they don't talk about. Like with Nanit, it's up front. This is how we secure data. This is how we secure so encrypt your data. So things like that, where what I found is the monitors that tend to get hacked are the ones that don't take security seriously at all. So it's like just all baked into the camera, like the password doesn't change ever, or you can't change the password. It's 1234556 or something like that. It's really the cheaper the camera, honestly, the more likely it will get hacked. And I think Nanit does a really good job of, one, marking the type of security that they put in the camera, and two, backing it up. I've never heard of any stories or any horror stories of Nanit being hacked like you do with the cheaper monitors out there that don't take security seriously at all. So I've never seen it as an issue or concern.
Yeah, as John mentioned, we have this very vocal audience. So one of the things we do is YouTube. So we have a YouTube channel. We get tons of comments on the YouTube channel. Baby monitors is a favorite thing for our folks to ask about. And never once have we heard any concerns about Nanit technology. So I think John's spot on there. Like, a company that's trustworthy enough to talk about their tech is doing something right. The other thing that I'll mention is that we get comments from folks all the time saying, like, our Wi-Fi baby monitor is really safe. But the other thing we think about is, like, what's the danger, or what's the incentive for a hacker to hack a baby monitor? Like, you're not going to make any money hacking a baby monitor, so you might as well spend your time hacking something else. So it's not something that we have ever really seen.
For the one story you see online, there are millions of other people who don't experience that. So it tends, it's the sensationalized some of those things. But again, I'll just go back to this is what Nanit does. They're upfront about it, and this is how we're going to secure your data. And yeah, I think it shows in the lack of stories that come out around any security breaches or anything with Nanit.
Yeah.
And I'm going to see if I can't turn some lights on out here because I can see it's a little dark. So I'll be right.
Cool. And hi, Jen.
Why are you here?
Hi. Sorry, I'm late. Of all the nights, Theo usually goes to sleep like at 7:30, and yeah, he just went down. He probably felt like he knew we had something to do tonight.
The way it usually goes in parenting.
Yeah. And so now I'm hiding in our kitchen, hoping he won't hear me.
So why don't you do an introduction of yourself? I did give a little intro in the beginning. More viewers joined, but now that we're a little bit more into this, I think it'll be a good opportunity for you to give us a little intro. Jen?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Jen. I have no idea what you said already. But first-time mother. Our son Theo just turned 1 a couple weeks ago. And we live in New York City. I work in the travel airline industry, so we travel a lot. And I'm sure James already talked about why we chose Nanit. It's just, we love using the floor stand. We've moved it around as he's moved from our bedroom to the crib. And then also when we travel, we have our travel case, and it just comes in handy when we're visiting family, which I saw my dad join earlier. Hi, Dad. And so when we're visiting family, it's nice to pop the travel stand up in one of the rooms and then just be with family if he's napping or down for the night. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
We actually have it here with us too, with the little travel stand up in the room that our kids are staying in. So yeah, it's super portable, super easy to set up. It's great.
And will last for years and years. That's the other thing we love about Nanit, is that you're still getting value out of it with your kids.
Right. Yeah, that's one of our tenets of things that we review or want to do, is how can we get prolonged value out of it? Like with the bag here, it's not just a diaper bag, it grows with you as your kids grow. And it's not just a baby monitor, because you can still get a lot of value out of it once your kids are older, whether it's like just you're setting it up in a room, like if you're working from home. That's a great example. I work from home, and whenever Calvin's there, he wants to come out and say hello. So it's just great to pop up and boom, you can monitor the room while you're working. So it's not just your baby's in the crib, this is the only time you'll be able to use a type monitor.
Yeah. During the day, James when Theo recently started walking, maybe last month, and so James will pop up, like just tilt it up a little more so you get a wider view. And we've actually been able to capture some of Theo's first steps while he's waddling around. So I totally agree with you. Like, it's more than just for sleeping too. And it's nice to be able to go back into our video memories and our video history and just capture that and have that.
Yes, that's another great point. So Calvin, our youngest, he's 4 now, but he sleeps with our dog. Our dog sleeps with Calvin. And it's great to go back and see them, like, literally the dog will be on one side of the pillow and Calvin will be on the other side of the pillow, kind of spooning. It's the greatest. And you can't catch that if you don't have something like the video feed that you can go back and look at. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I think another great thing and this is what I recently shared, Jen, feel free to fill in anything that I miss here, but the other great feature about it is the content that it gives us. And there were, I think around 10 months, I got this message in the inbox about the content saying at this age, Theo should start to be able to put himself to sleep. Tonight is an anomaly, but we took that tip and we started when he gets sleepy. I think the tip was more or less around like when he starts to get sleepy, start to put him in the crib because you've already established a routine. And so he should know at this time that once he's put down, he should be able to fall asleep. Follow that tip. I think the first night wasn't bad. I think it was only like 10 minutes, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think over the course of the 3 or 4 days, like he adjusted quite well and was able to put himself to sleep. Without that tip, we'd been rocking him to sleep in our little rocker in the corner, and without that tip, I think we would still be at this point and rocking him to sleep. So I think I'm very appreciative of the content that it provides to us and definitely looking for more to come. But I want to jump in here. We have a lot of viewers here, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask in the chat. And I'll do my best to look at them all and answer as we go along.
Great.
Now, I think the one feature we have a question about what is your favorite sleep tip Nanit has given you? You guys have a camera. Have you taken any of the sleep tips?
Yeah, it's been a while, but it's the biggest one I think was the fluctuation of when we were putting Calvin down. One night it might have been like 7:45, another night it would have been like 8:30, and one of them like 7:15. So it'll say it looks like that you're putting Calvin down at different times every night. Try establishing a specific time that you're going to put Calvin in his crib, adjust the sleep routine up until that point, and then try and be consistent with what time Calvin goes to bed every single night. And so that was huge because with an older kid, it's hard to establish two routines. So Oliver's a little bit older than Calvin, but still it's with two kids, you've got to merge the two different routines because Oliver, the older one, had a routine, and now trying to merge Calvin's routine with the overall nighttime routine was a bit difficult, but still important. It picked up on that fact that we were all over the place for a while trying to put him to bed at whatever time we were trying to put him to bed, and it caught it, and it was great. And it definitely helps establish we're going to read a book, we're going to rock a little bit, and you're going to start to fall asleep, and you're going to go to bed at this time, and try to stay within the window. So that was pretty helpful.
Great.
Yeah, I think, James, you said it earlier, of the best sleep tip we got was to put him down sleepy and drowsy, but awake, and then he'll learn how to fall asleep himself. And that has really helped, especially when he was I think that tip came up when he was going through his 9-month sleep regression, and it was really rough because we had gotten the taste of sleeping like regular humans again, and then he goes through this regression, and it's just easier to pick him up and just hold him until he falls asleep, and then you just get into this routine, and then our sleep diminishes again. So I think after that tip popped up, we got through the sleep regression not too long after, and now whenever I get my weekly insights and I see that Theo didn't trigger a tip, I'm like, yes. Like gold star for us.
No news is good news there.
Yeah.
Question here: have you guys used Nanit in hotels? So I think we do travel a lot, but I think with the last few trips we've been in Airbnbs. So I think in that sense, and just logging into the Airbnbs, we've been able to. But I did, right when we got the Nanit, I did buy a travel router. We are going on a vacation over Father's Day weekend. Jen is surprising me with the trip. I don't know where we're going. But I do intend to use our travel router that we have. So for my basic understanding is that I know I've seen a lot of users mention that they can't log into it. I think there's a lot behind like the security and logging into a secured Wi-Fi connection, not just the generic hotel login. I think from what I understand from our travel router, I can connect it to the Ethernet and establish a connection that way. So I will test it out. I will report it to the team, and we'll see how it works out. But I don't know if you guys, John, Paul, you guys might travel a lot too. Have you had the opportunity to use Act in a hotel?
Yeah, so we haven't really had the need recently. Mm-hmm. The Calvin's end age now, we're basically in the same room together. Whenever we stay at a hotel, there's 2 beds, and they're usually right next to us. But here, we're in a bigger house, and what I usually do is unpair and pair it back again. And if I'm trying to log it or sync it with a new Wi-Fi, and that tends to work. But yeah, I personally haven't used it too much in hotels, but whatever vacation we go on, I bring it with us, and it usually works at the house that we're staying at.
The other thing I'll mention is just how easy it is to move around and what a benefit that is compared to a traditional monitor where you're moving the parent unit and the camera,
Right,
and
yeah.
there's like a whole bunch of wires on
Right,
each one.
yeah.
You know, I know that you brought it over to my dad's house when Calvin was younger, and you'd be coming over for Christmas dinner and stuff like that, and then bring the Nanit with
Right.
you, stick it in a spare bedroom for a couple hours
Yeah.
so you could get some sleep and bring it home.
And just giving with grandparents or babysitters or whatever, if you have an old device that if all it has is the Nanit app on it, it's a parent unit for whoever is needing it. So it's so super easy to get it up and running and get people the feed on whatever device you've got lying around.
Even grandparents like my dad, who's not the most tech savvy, can use the Nanit app, right?
It's super easy, yeah. Just press the button.
We have a question here going back to sleep tips, and Tara is asking, when do the sleep tips start? She's only been using for a few weeks now, but I don't get these sort of tips. So I'm going to assume your little one is at a younger age, maybe a few weeks old, maybe a month, but the tips are provided for babies when they're about 4 months old. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, and just what I learned. So we actually interviewed Dr. Barnett, who was
Natalie,
a couple of years ago, and one of the really interesting things we learned was just that it does it at that month is because at 4 months, and I didn't know this, when your baby should theoretically be able to sleep through the night in whatever that 4 or 6 hour stretch of time, and until then your baby is just all over the place, fluctuating with how long they sleep, how well they sleep. But the 4 month is usually that period where technically they can get them to sleep through the night, and that's when we'll start analyzing all that data.
Oh, we can't hear you.
Sorry, I was on mute. That's an amateur 2020 mistake. Yeah, I think 4 months was probably around the time that we started getting Theo into a sleep routine also, and having longer stretches at night. I think before that, everything is just a blur and a whirlwind, and it's everything's survival. So yeah, I think when Nanit's tips start to come in around that time, super helpful.
Yeah. Cool. And just to wrap things up, I'm going to answer one final question. Let me scroll back up. Nicole asked, I'd love to know one piece of advice you'd give to new parents. Ooh. We'll start with Jen.
See, this is unfair because you texted me on the side asking me to do something, and then you asked me the question. Let's see, one piece of advice. I would say, I have multiple pieces of advice, but I'd say go easy on yourself and be flexible and listen to your baby's cues. I think we all have ideas from what we read and what we hear of like where the baby should be or what we should be doing, but I think the best route is to follow people you trust, but also yourself and your baby.
That's great. Yeah, if I could piggyback off that, I would say, to your point, don't beat yourself up because you're going to make mistakes. And that's absolutely normal and expected as new parents. You're going to make mistakes because nobody knows everything, and no one expects you as a new parent to know everything. So go easy on yourself and give yourself that space to learn and grow. I'm a better parent.
I'm going to go with a classic, which is expect time to go by really fast. That's something that you will hear that from everyone when you become a new parent. It'll be yeah, like I've heard that 20 times. And guess what? An hour feels like a week when my baby's crying. But having older kids who feel like they're growing up so fast, like taking the time to make sure you're being present, taking tons of photos and videos. I was looking back. We did our first plane flight with our kids in 3 years a couple of days ago. And I was able to go back in our photos and look at the first time that my oldest daughter had flown and as a baby. And they loved looking at those pictures with us. So take the time, be present, and take lots of pictures.
Yes. And to piggyback off of that, and reel it all into the Nanit, I think Jen can also, all of us can just be ability and just over the phone. Like you can literally be at work. I work at home, but I know Jen works. She goes into the office. She'll sneak a peek. And just right now, I'm gonna have our video. But or one advice that I'd give, and I think Jen has already said it, for us being first-time parents, I think there's a lot of white noise around telling you imparting their wisdom, and when you have your parental feeling. I think we all just do the best that we can for our kids. The advice that I'll give. Jen was flustered earlier because on the side asking, because we need to pick a winner.
Oh yeah.
I've given that power to Jen. So did you pick a winner?
I did. I am going with Love Blue Denim, Leela.
Perfect. Congrats.
Yay!
Yay. All right. If you could read their name again.
The username is love.blue.denim, and her name is Leela. Or Layla.
If you can't DM then we will chat about you getting the a free course for preparing for parenting from the Fathercraft. So
Excellent. Congratulations.
John and Paul, thank you for participating with us. Just all your experiences. Love the reviews that you get, the resources that you also provide to not only just parents of all parents, and then obviously my wife. Thanks for being part of this. Work for Nanit, but no, you're doing a solid for me. Your knowledge too. And then just thank you to the viewers. Thank you for participating. I know it might be around some of your little ones' bedtimes, but again, just thank you for joining and listening. And we hope you all have a great evening.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, James. Thanks, Jen.
Bye, everyone. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.